y'all, I'm Allie. Welcome to Little Hill Homestead. We are going to be doing a different, it's not a different video for us. This is a totally normal video for us. But today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make soups in a jar. These are going to be big jars full of things like dried beans and pastas and barley and dehydrated vegetables that you can dump in, they'll have all the spices included too, that you can dump into a pot of water, add very minimal ingredients, and make yourself a big, hearty pot of soup. So, I just spent the last hour doing all the prep work for our vegetables. So the vegetables, we're gonna be dehydrating all of these. I have a Kasori 10 tray dehydrator, Big Mama Jumbo. I'm gonna run that one probably outside even though it's cold. And then I have a little tiny one on the counter over here. I think it's a 6 tray Septri. Yeah, 6 trays. I'm gonna be using both of those to get through the boatloads of vegetables, but I wanted to walk you through the vegetables that I'm gonna be dehydrating to get ready for this series. It's just one video, it's not a series. It's just a whole bunch of jars. The first thing I've got is this is a couple cups of frozen corn. This is the, I don't know if you can see it. This is the frozen corn from Azure Standard. I've got frozen peas. Again, these are the frozen organic ones from Azure Standard. I bought a bunch of leeks and I cut them up just into fine little pieces so they'll dehydrate faster. This is 2 big onions that were in our root closet. This is a couple shallots, a bunch of little tiny baby snack bell peppers that are just cut again into little tiny pieces. Think things that are gonna cook down when you put them in a soup really nicely, and that's about the size you wanna go. This is probably 12, 14 carrots out of our root closet. We cut them into little pieces and then I blanched them in some boiling water for 4 minutes, then shocked them cold. And then this is 4 russet potatoes. I did the same thing with these. Anything that has a skin on it, oh, that was annoying. Anything that's got a skin on it, and I peeled the carrots, by the way, because they've been sitting in that sawdust mixture. But anything that has a skin on it, I tend to blanch stuff like that. It turns out prettier when you do that, so that's why I did that. So I'm gonna get these, like I was saying, we have our Septri, that's just a couple of these little guys. I'll get a couple things going on there. And then our big Kasori. I'm gonna set it at 125 degrees. Basically let this go until everything is dry. My guess, 18 to 24 hours to get all these dried. As things are done, I will pull them out and kind of get them probably back into bowls similar to this so that we can do the rest of our video. I'm pretty excited about this video, you guys. I'm working this afternoon to nail down like the final recipes. I'm gonna share with you guys the number of them, but we'll see. Keep an eye out. I'll be back in 12 seconds, although it'll be, for me, more than 24 hours. Yeah, but that's our veggies, guys. I didn't want you to think like she bought veggies. I'm not buying veggies. We're doing this from scratch. All right, it is day 2. All of our veggies are now dehydrated. It's amazing how small they get, but everything dehydrated. Word to the wise, if you're dehydrating vegetables, especially onions, make sure you put them outside or you will have dreams that you can smell onions the entire night, even if you can't. I don't know, whatevs. I have pulled out a lot of dried ingredients. I've got peas, lentils, barley, rice. Did I say beans? Beans. And on this side, I have a bunch of different spices. So I honestly don't know how many, I have a couple pasta things up here too. I don't know how many of these we're gonna get to. I pulled out 5 jars. I'm just gonna kind of start with the ones I know that we will eat for sure. And then I'm gonna work my way down to what, I mean, we eat all these, but there are some that we prefer more so than others, if that makes sense. All these can last long-term. If you have, I put them in mason jars. You can do them in Mylar bags as well. If you do them in mason jars, you can suck the air out of them, like, you know, the little food saver thingy, or stick like a Mylar, not a Mylar bag, an oxygen absorber in there, and they will last pretty much indefinitely because everything in here is dehydrated. The way I like to cook pretty much all these is I like to throw them in a crock pot and let them cook all day. It's a great way for beans and peas and things that are dried to really reconstitute well. The other way you can do it is put it on stovetop and let them go for an hour to an hour and a half. Just let them boil away. So the first one I'm gonna show you guys is kind of a more hearty soup. It has a little of everything. So that's the first one I'm gonna show you. So this one, I'm gonna start with peas. These are just dried peas. This isn't like a split pea soup by any means, but it does have peas in it. By the way, sub out anything you don't like. If there's something that I'm putting in here, you're like, I don't like barley, or I don't like this, or I'm allergic to this, sub it out with something similar, sub it out with something you will eat. The next thing I need are lentils. I'm going with these little orange ones because I have two kinds. I have these ones and I have whatever I think they're called green, but they're brown, so it makes perfect sense. But I kind of thought these would be prettier. So I'm doing 1 cup of lentils. Again, if you don't like lentils, don't use them. I know some people do and some people don't. We don't mind them. If you haven't tried them, give them a try. They're kind of earthy overall, but I like them. The next thing we've got is, this is pearl barley. It's just barley. I need 1/2 cup of that. If you don't have barley, you could use bulgur as well, something along those lines. So there's our kind of base, what are those called? Carbs. To that, I'm gonna add some beef bouillon. I need a couple tablespoons of our beef bouillon. This is our homemade. If you don't have bouillon on hand, you can use broth when you make them and just put broth in there. I mean water, broth. If you don't use powdered, use water. Nope, I said it wrong again. If you're putting powdered bouillon in there, use water when you make it. If you don't, use broth. There you go, I got it right. Hold on 1 second. So the next thing we need to add is some diced onion. I dehydrated a bunch of onion. I'm just gonna use a couple tablespoons of it. Ooh, it shrinks up pretty well. So 2 tablespoons is actually like 1/4 of an onion. It's amazing what it does. Then we're gonna add some Italian seasoning to this. I love the look it's getting. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. This one, I like to add Italian sausage when we go to cook it. It kind of has like a Italian-y, hearty type of a thing going on. The next thing we got.
That's why it's called Italian sausage.
Wow, right? The next thing we need is 1/4 cup of rice. Sean came in for his lunch break. That's why I kind of paused for a second there. All right, the next thing you need is some bay leaves. Just a couple of those dropped in. We'll pull those out after the soup has cooked before you serve it. Now, I need a teaspoon of salt. If you're salt sensitive, just lower it down, that's fine. We are salt sensitive and it's a good amount for us, just especially with as many not weird things as you have in there, but everything that's in here isn't salty. 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, black pepper. We need some minced garlic. I have it around here somewhere. It's just dehydrated minced garlic. I need 1 teaspoon of that. You can go with a little bit less. A teaspoon's kind of a little potent, but again, it needs some flavor, so it's good. And then the last thing we need, and there's a couple ways to do this. This part is all stuff that needs to cook for a longer amount of time. The last thing, and you can do this a couple different ways, is you need to put some ditalini pasta in here, or shell pasta, or you name whatever pasta you want. We like ditalini. I'm looking at my amount. And this takes about an hour to cook in the crock pot. If you're doing it on the stovetop, I add it the last 20 minutes. And I measure mine and I put it in a Ziploc baggie. If you want, let me measure it first. If you want to not have plastic baggies in there, because I know you guys will say something, you can totally put a piece of parchment paper and try to dump out the pasta first. Or a cupcake liner will sit down in there, and then you just have to very carefully lift it out.
So do you put it in a plastic baggie, or do you spill it all over the counter?
I spilled it and put it in a plastic baggie. Then I'm going to stick my pasta down into my jar, just like that. And that is it, you guys. So this is our Hearty soup. This one, like I was saying, you can add a pound of ground beef to it, a pack of Italian sausage to it, or chicken. And then it needs, we add a 14.5 ounce diced tomato, like canned tomatoes, a little bit of tomato sauce or tomato powder, and it needs 3 quarts of water or broth. your choice. So this one, like I was saying, you can cook in the crock pot all day, add that ditalini pasta the last hour, or stovetop hour to an hour and a half and add the ditalini the last 20 minutes. So that is our first one. Isn't it pretty? It's like sand art. Oh, it's even prettier here because you can see all the spices. So what I do with these is I will label what the top is, and then again, I like to write the cooking instructions on the side in case we ever gift it to somebody, or if it's like, you know, one of the kids wants to cook dinner, they can grab it and they'll know how to make it. So that is our first one. Let me reset, and I'll bring you back for number 2. Okay, soup number 2, we're doing pasta fagioli. The first thing you're gonna need, get another Ziploc, or you know the drill from the last one. You do you, that's what I say. I need 1 cup of these shells, and I'm gonna put them in my Ziploc so I don't forget to add them at the top. You would think I would grab a 1 cup measuring cup, but no. So if you don't know what pasta fagioli is, it's like an Italian soup. It's got pasta, some dried beans. It's like got a, I don't know, it's like a hearty type of Italian-y soup. Not like the last one we did. That one had lentils and stuff in it. This one doesn't have that, so little different. So our pasta, I'm just gonna stick right there so we don't forget it. So this one has a lot of beans.
I don't know why she keeps saying Italian. Her aunt is Sicilian, and she's gonna roll over in her grave if she says Italian one more time.
I'll stop saying it. So the base of this one is gonna be a lot of beans. The first one we're gonna need is pinto, our pinto. It's 3/4 of a cup going in. I filled these a little too full to get my cups in there. All right, there's our pinto, and really you guys can use any kind of dried beans you want. The next thing you've got is navy beans. If you want to use Great Northern, you can use those instead. This is just what I had, so this is kind of what I went with. I wouldn't use black beans, I don't think, but any other bean, you're fine. And then I'm using cannellini for our third bean. Maybe. Got it. Now this one I like to just dump it in the crock pot, everything except for my pasta, and let it go for 8 hours. That really cooks those beans nicely. And then, this lid does not go on there. And then again, I add my pasta at the tail end. So to this one, we are gonna be adding, I'm going down my list so I don't forget anything. Parsley flakes, a couple tablespoons of parsley flakes. We grow a lot of our own herbs and dehydrate them. So if you see stuff that looks a little, I mean, parsley is parsley, it's not gonna look funky, but, or I'll buy parsley. If you see it really cheap, I'll buy a bunch and dehydrate it. Or, you know, sometimes you have to have fresh for a recipe. We don't ever use it again, so I'll just dehydrate what we have left. For this one, we need 1/4 cup of our onion. This is our onion that we dehydrated. Going in. We've got our parsley, our onion. We need a teaspoon of basil. These are our basil leaves from our garden. Same thing, I just dehydrated them at the end of the season, even though they're still going actually out in our greenhouse. They're looking a little sad, but they're out there. To me, basil is like a definite Italian thing, Sicilian thing. My husband's giving me the look. You need a teaspoon of oregano leaves, or just oregano. I feel like oregano is like the epitome of Mexican food and Italian food. Then we've got rosemary, 1 teaspoon.
Sicilian!
Yeah. I didn't mean for her, I meant in cooking in general. Then we need 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. This is our garlic powder that we made in the video. If you guys haven't seen it, we make garlic and onion powder. You just dehydrate it and you blend it up. Then we've got red pepper flakes. To me, that is like a must in this kind of soup. My little rubber gasket just came off. It's okay, they pop right back on, you guys. A lot of people ask where we got these. Amazon, of course. 1/2 teaspoon red pepper flakes going in. Then I've got 1/2 teaspoon of regular old black pepper. I will, by the way, have all these recipes down below.
Real quick, if you are sensitive to heat, red pepper flakes in this recipe, it's not enough to, like,
there you go.
it's not enough to bother you. It's not enough to make it too hot.
There you go.
It does
just
just
adds
fine.
a nice flavor.
It adds a nice flavor,
Yeah.
so it's not too hot.
This is our homemade chicken bouillon. I just reused the container, but you need 3 tablespoons of that. I'm getting to the nitty gritty. I need to make more. Again, I do this so that you can add water instead of broth when you do it. There we go, 3 tablespoons. I'm gonna have to get my backup or make more. Then we've got, so you can add 28 ounces of canned diced tomatoes when you go to make it, or if you have any dehydrated tomatoes from your garden from last season that you need to use up, go ahead and throw some of those in there. I'll probably still do a can of tomatoes when I go to make it. It's fine. Let's see. Oh, I missed my carrot, my celery. Hopefully this all fits. You need 1/4 cup of our, isn't this carrot so cute? We blanched our carrot really quick before we dehydrated it. That's gonna go in. And then our celery. I don't love a ton of celery, so I do take it down to a couple tablespoons, maybe a tablespoon. I got like whole leaves still stuck in here. That's how you know it's homemade. Okay. Again, I will write on the top of this what it is, and let me see if these will shove in there. I shouldn't have added the tomatoes. Okay, I should have done bigger jars. No, it's gonna fit. We're gonna make it fit. Anyways, there we go. We'll make it work. It's gonna shove the lid on there. Okay, I added a little more than 1 cup of pasta. We're just gonna, there we go. Strong arm it in there, y'all. It's going. There we go. Oh, come on. Come on. Hey, she got it, y'all. Wait, hold on. There it is. Help me! I hope I'm stronger than he is.
I think you probably are.
Sometimes you just need a second person. I probably have some air in that bag. Here, if we unzip the bag. Yeah, well, it's fine. Hey, we got it!
That looks beautiful. And this here looks pretty good too.
Thank you. So for this one, like I was saying, we do a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes into the crock pot. Then I do 8 cups of water and I let it cook on low for 8 hours in the crock pot. I add my pasta the last hour, and that's how we serve it. If you want to throw some, I don't know, you could throw some meat in this one too. Probably Italian sausage would work great. I'll have all these recipes below, by the way. They're so pretty. I love the look of them. Okay, let me restage for number 3, and we'll be right back for that one. Soup number 3 is gonna be chicken noodle soup. This one's pretty easy and basic because there's not a lot going in, but you do need to add chicken on the flip side. If you have a freeze dryer and you have access to freeze-dried chicken, you're good to go. I don't have that. We're not investing the money into that. So the first thing that we need, I go backwards. I put my noodles in last at the top just because I want everything to kind of settle. Spice-wise, I don't want everything to settle down on the noodles. So all good. The first thing you need is 1/4 cup of the dehydrated carrot that we did. Again, I blanched these. They're so pretty. This bowl was like 16 carrots. Barely did anything once you got it done. We need 1/4 cup of our celery. And then 1/4 cup of our onion. Whoops, on the floor apparently. Woo. That's kind of your mirepoix that you would typically put in and kind of grill up and kind of cook down. We're skipping that part. We're gonna use some parsley. I know it's over here. I've got every spice literally that I own on this counter, so it's a little bit of a mess, but it's okay. Tablespoon of parsley going in. If there's anything that you don't like in this, just swap it, you guys. It ain't no thing but a chicken wing. You need 3 tablespoons of bouillon. I use chicken, you could use vegetable as well. I wouldn't put beef in this. I think that'd be a little funky. If you'd rather have broth and add broth at the end, you can do that too. I try to make it so this literally just add water and maybe a meat or protein source and you're good to go. We need 1 teaspoon of thyme leaves. I was gonna pre-measure all this out to move this video faster, and then I thought, well, I have to layer it in the jar to look pretty, so I couldn't really pre-measure things. So you're kind of stuck with me. 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder. and half a teaspoon of black pepper. So like I said, this one is gonna be, that's our base. You'll be amazed at how puffed up these vegetables get. It's really kind of wild. Then I have 2 cups. These are just egg noodles. We got these when we were in Ohio from an Amish store. And I'm getting to the nitty gritty on this bag. And then I think I'm gonna try to make egg noodles after that. We'll see. So this one, there's the lid fit on that one a whole lot easier. That's a pretty basic one. To this one, you need to add 2 cups of chicken, either canned chicken or shredded chicken or your own canned chicken, whatever you want. 8 cups of water. And this one I don't do in the crock pot. I just boil it on the stovetop. I let it boil for about 20 to 25 minutes until I feel like all my veggies are kind of rehydrated. That is an easy one, is it not? There's our chicken noodle soup. Eat and enjoy. That's what I put on everything. Why do I put that? These look so pretty, like lined up on a shelf. They're gonna look beautiful because there's like, it's like sand art. There's so many pretty colors and stuff that if you have a really cool shelf that you're like, oh, I need to put these out, I wouldn't put them in a sunny spot, but okay. I'm gonna reset for number 4. Number 4, be right back. Okay, number 4 is gonna be a sausage lentil soup. It's a little bit different than the very first one we did because the very first one we did had peas in it and this one does not. So this one, did it? Yeah, it had peas in it. What am I talking about? So the first thing we need are lentils, go figure, huh? I'm gonna do, you need 1.5 cups total. It doesn't matter what combo you do. So I'm gonna do 3/4 of a cup of our red. I'm trying to use this bag up today. What I love about this is if you have stuff that you're like, I don't know how to use this, this is a great way to get stuff used up. Lentils, again, if you're not a fan, this probably isn't the soup for you. We like lentils, so I think it's all about cooking them though. Okay. To that, we are adding some more of our carrot. We need 1/4 of a cup of carrot. I'm hoping I did enough carrot. If we don't have enough carrot, I will swap it out and do something else. It's fine for our other recipes. We need 1/2 of a cup of white rice. That's buried over here somewhere. Like I said, I have half of my kitchen out on the counter right now. Half a cup of rice. Then we've got, going down the line here, we need a tablespoon of onion, tablespoon of celery. We're adding a new addition into this soup. This one has leek in it. I do a couple teaspoons of leek. I cut the leek up. Yesterday I had it washed really well before I did because they can hide dirt. And it's really flaky at this point, like very crispy. You can kind of squish it down if you want. I do 2 tablespoons of leeks. And then what else we got? I'm taking a note to myself. A teaspoon of paprika. Nope, yeah. Did I pull the paprika out? You're here somewhere. Oh, no, it's like the one spice I still have on the counter. I mean on the, it's the one thing on the spice rack. Don't worry, we have it over here now. The whole gang's over here. Teaspoon of paprika going in. Then we need some basil. Yet again, this is another like kind of Italian-y type of vibe. But if you're not a fan of it, just kind of swap things out for what you do like. There's a 1/2 teaspoon of basil. Here comes the gamut. You're going to recognize some of these. We have oregano, 1/2 teaspoon. We need beef bouillon for this one. This is the biggest difference. Is this one gets kind of a more, it's definitely a richer type of a soup. So I do 3 tablespoons. This is our homemade beef bouillon. I don't know if we're gonna have enough. We're gonna find out. We're just gonna dump that in there and call it 3 tablespoons. It's fine. I'm gonna have to make some more of this. This is the one we make with mushroom powder, so it's actually a vegan or vegetarian version of beef. Okay, so that is it for our jar. I'm making sure. Tomatoes. I'm gonna add some more of these. Again, if you don't add these, you can add canned tomatoes when you go to cook it. All right. Well, you know what? There you go. We just are gonna use up our tomatoes. One less thing to worry about in our lives. So this one, it's not as full of a jar, but that's okay. So this one, when you go to make it, I brown up 1 pound of ground Italian sausage. You could do rings and pre-cook them and then slice them up and add them in as well. This one gets a can of petite diced tomatoes. If you did what I did and added some in there, then you don't need to do that. And this one gets 12 cups of water. Sometimes that to me is a little bit much, so sometimes I take it down to 10 cups of water, but all these are gonna absorb stuff. This is another one I dump in my crock pot and I let it go all day. So I cook up my Italian sausage, throw it in the crock pot, throw this in there with my water and let it just cook on down. There you go, that's jar number 4. Hold on, I'm gonna bring you another one. Here comes number 5. All right, number 5 is alive. Do you guys remember Short Circuit? Who doesn't if you're my age? The next one we're gonna be making is a potato leek. Why I say potato? Potato leek soup. It is a nice and creamy one because you add cream at the end, but leeks are really better than you give them credit for. So this one, you need 1 cup of potato. I dehydrated little cubes of potato. I've tried it with like shredded hash brown type potato. Did not work. So stick with a cubed potato. So this is about equal to, once you get 1 cup in here, it's about 2 potatoes in total. I don't know why I'm talking weird. We got our potato in there. The next thing you need, oh my goodness, is leeks, y'all. So I'm gonna do, it calls for 1/2 of a cup of leeks. I like to do a little extra because I have a lot. Because I can. So I'm gonna do another 1/2 cup. So I'm doing 1 cup of leeks. They squish down pretty easily, so I just didn't compact them down. If I had squished them in there, it would have been 1/2 cup. We need some celery, go figure. So our Azure order for the month of January, we got that mystery box of vegetables, and this is this is 2 whole things of celery. Can you tell? Like it's amazing how small celery gets, but when you think about how watery it is, it makes sense. We need 2 tablespoons of our dehydrated onion. We need a teaspoon. These are scallions. They are kind of a garlicky onion type of flavor. A little goes a long way with these, so I'm only doing I'm gonna do 1.5 teaspoons because I want to. It adds like a richness because there isn't scallions in a lot of recipes. The next thing we need is 1/2 teaspoon of dill. If you're not a fan of dill, or if you feel like it's gonna overpower it, just take it down a notch or leave it out. Then you need some thyme leaves. I do a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme. I love thyme. I feel like it adds just like we had one kid that lived with us, our kid. He wasn't just some kid, he's our kid. When he lived here, he doesn't like rosemary or thyme, so it really limited like what we could make sometimes. So I love my kid, but I'm also glad because I like to add whatever herbs. 2 bay leaves going in. And then 2 tablespoons, this is just chicken bouillon going in. Whoops, if I can get the lid off. So if you feel like you want to bulk it up and add a little bit more potato or leek, you totally can. If we get all these recipes done and I still have some left, I'll do that. So for this little jar, that's all that we're putting in here. This one to cook, this one I do again in the crock pot. And I add this jar to my crock pot, 6 cups of water. I sometimes will add a little bit of fresh potato, some red potato or gold potato, maybe like 3 chopped up into little squares similar to this. And then I cook that all day. And right before I serve it, I add 1 cup of heavy cream and kind of thicken it up. If it needs salt or pepper at that point, go ahead and add it. But that's our potato leek, number 5. Well, I'm smack dab in the middle of editing this video and I realize it is extremely long. So what I'm gonna do is split it into a 2-part video series. So today is part 1 and stay tuned tomorrow for part 2, which is another 4 or 5 recipes of the same kind of thing, jarred soups. Be on the lookout for those.